Alrighty, welcome to my elderberry stash. Today I am going to be making an elderberry pie. I'm still working through this stash of elderberries that I have had for several years now, but I just figured I would share making the pie, I guess. And the recipe, in case you guys haven't tried it, if you're making anything with elderberries, you want to freeze them first because it is much easier to get the berries away from the stems. If you do these in smaller batches and take care of them quicker, they won't be quite as dirty as mine, but because these have been in this bag since about 2017, it's going to be a little bit of a process. They're off of the big stems, but as you can see, all the little pieces kind of stick everywhere. And I am going to go ahead and get 4 cups of just elderberries. So that is going to take me a while. All right, here are my elderberries. You can see there's still a few little stems in here that I'm gonna have to pick out. A lot of these will float to the surface as I'm kind of prepping this, so that will work. But to this, I'm gonna add 1 cup of maple sugar. You can sub this for white sugar, but maple sugar is the best. You should try it. 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon lemon juice, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water. It just kind of depends on how it looks once I get it in here. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we are going to kind of boil and mash this until the cornstarch thickens it and it's to your desired thickness. And that is really going to be what determines how it sets up in your pie later. So I definitely tend to go for thicker rather than thinner. And then while this is prepping, you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees and get your bottom crust ready in your pie pan. I'm just using a store-bought crust because I had one in the freezer, but you know, whatever your favorite crust recipe is works perfectly with this, or even a crumble would work really, really well. So I got this to the desired thickness. I ended up having to use flour instead of cornstarch just because I did not have any cornstarch in the pantry. Naughty me. It's not something I really keep on hand because in most pie recipes I substitute cornstarch for flour anyways because I like the taste and texture of flour better. In this one, cornstarch really is your best option, but now most of it dissolved in here quite nicely. There's just a few little clumps I'm trying to get worked out, and then I am going to pour this into my crust because this is definitely plenty thick enough and ready to bake. Add on about a tablespoon and 1/2 of butter before I put the crust on, and I just wanted to show you that. Now I'm gonna do my crust. I am not a fancy crust person, as you can tell. There's just some fork indents along the edge to kind of seal it, brushed with egg whites and sprinkled with a little bit of sugar, and then this is going to go in the oven for about 40 minutes. So once your pie is done cooking, you just want to remove it and make sure this is really fully cooled before you cut into it. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple hours, honestly, and we will be enjoying this after dinner tonight. So here is what the pie looks like when it's sliced. It holds up really well. See, that is due to cooking it down to how thick I wanted it. And it's just delicious, and I like it topped with a little bit of whipped cream. If you've never had elderberry anything before, the seeds are still in it, so it's a little bit crunchy. They're not super hard like a raspberry or a blackberry seed. They just kind of crunch and you eat them and it's not a big deal. But if you're not a fan of crunchy, I would maybe skip this one or even try to sift the seeds out somehow. I've never tried that, but I'm sure there is a way. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you give this a try, let me know what you think.